morning, my students. This is me, Dr. الحسني, and that's the course of Grammar 3. Today we will continue another lesson in chapter 14. We're already in section 5, common verbs followed by either infinitives or gerunds. So today the whole lesson is about how to remember and memorize these verbs or the verbs that will be either with infinitive or will be followed by infinitive, or the others who will be followed by gerunds. And for sure what we have, it's a kind of what we call case. This case, like if you start with begin, start, continue, like, love, prefer, hate, can't stand, can't bear. So when you have can't bear, can't stand, hate, like, love, prefer, begin, start, continue, here all of these verbs, which is maybe followed by either an infinitive or a gerund with little or no difference in meaning. And for A here, it began to rain, it began raining. Both or either sentences can be accepted. I started to work, I started working, it was beginning to rain. We have here 1, 2, 3 examples. These examples, I can tell you, you can recognize the differences when you have two, I began to rain, and or it began to rain, it began raining. When I check out the thing here, some verbs are progressive or in continuous, present continuous, and others it's infinitive. Why? It's based on the context. There is nothing here to tell it was beginning to rain and it began to rain or it began raining. There is nothing here but the structure itself. Verb plus in group B, verb plus infinitive or gerund with difference meaning. So here the first part, we can check out the meaning is the same. There is nothing to be worried about, or there is nothing can or change the sentence. But in number 2, we can see how a group B, verb plus infinitive or gerund with a difference in meaning, you can recognize, remember, forget, regret, try, stop. The verbs in group B may be followed by either an infinitive or a gerund, but the meaning is different. The meaning is different. When we look at the meaning here, you can see the first part, Judy always remembers to lock the door. So if you look at the meaning of this sentence, always remembers to lock. Here you can find out the responsibility meaning or a task. It's kind of duty or a task, or what we can say is something you have to do maybe always or in daily life. No one can be responsible for closing or locking the door except Judy. E, we have Sam forgets to lock the door, and you can understand that forgetting here, he didn't do a task or a duty that we requested from him. F here, I remember seeing the ads for the first time. The site was impressive. So the way of speaking here is about you remember or revive a kind of good memory. And when you revive something happened in the past, you can use the gerund structure instead of using the infinitive. So make sure that you understand the structure. You understand that when you remember something in the past, you have to put ing. When you remember or you do something as a task, you need to understand that it's usually used to be with infinitive. And the last here, G, I will never forget seeing the Alps for the first time. I think here you have to understand that if you look at the Alps, or if you look at the what we call something in the past, you have to remember how to put ing. So the whole rule here, if something in the past, remember ing, and if the thing is a duty or a task, it's with infinitive. In H and I regret lending him some money. I regret to tell you that you failed the test. So regret here, when you regret, you are trying to inform somebody about bad news, or to tell someone or inform someone, maybe in an official email or maybe an official letter about something bad. So I regret to tell you that you failed the test. You failed the test. That's one part of regret. The second part in I regret lending his or him some money. He never paid me back. So regret in that part is about you regret in the past. Also for the thing, for the whole page, you remember or you do something in the past, you need ing. In J and K, we have I'm trying to learn and the room was hot. I tried opening the window. So why here is trying or tried become an ing? Because it's kind of a new approach or a new condition. When you say the room was hot, I tried to open, or I tried opening the window, you are trying to change the situation or the condition that surrounded you, or the circumstances that surround you. And finally, I turned on the air conditioner. I turned on the air conditioner. Here you can understand that the way for new approaching or a new experiment or a new condition, all of these issues, you need to follow the verb with the ing gerund structure. And then we have L. The students stopped talking when the professor entered the room. Stop talking, it's about you are doing an activity and you stopping, or you stopped it. And when you stopped it, you need to remember, stop to talk, it will be totally wrong. Stop talking, it's kind of general activity, and you just hold on until the professor started. In M, we have when Anne saw her professor in the hallway, she stopped to talk. She stopped to talk to him. So she has the purpose as she is one person, and she stopped as herself to talk for her purpose, or for herself, or something for her benefit. And if you have a purpose or a benefit, you have to use to, because you know, like to as a preposition is used for that part. It's used for remembering or memorizing to do your own thing. Okay, that's the lesson for section 5, and I think all of the issue here we need to understand. Like we have here, her husband likes what? So we say likes swimming in fresh lakes. I hate seeing any living, or I hate, you can check here the verb when you have hate, can't stand, can't bear. All of this can be based on the structure. You can see here, I hate to see any living being suffer. I hate to see. That's one conditional point. Okay. I can't bear watching news reports of children who are homeless. So you can say I can't bear watching. So we finish from it. We can read that notice. So we have a prefer, and we have the word with ing and with ed. So if you say I would prefer to stay, I would prefer to stay rather than to go. I prefer staying home to going to the concert. So, you know, like these, the two sentences and these two sentences, you have to understand the idea when you say I prefer. Remember that it will be with ing. When you say I would prefer, you have to follow it with to. So I prefer with ing, and I would prefer to. That's the way for finding the difference between ing or progressive and for the infinitive. Okay, well, to continue for the next part, we have in section 6, we have using gerunds as the object or objects of preposition. What is the concept here? A gerund is frequently used as the object of preposition in case we can trace the structure, and we find that usually ing structure or gerund structure will be after the subject and the verb. So we can trace subject verb, and then after the verb we find object, and this object it's linked to preposition. That's the lesson. The lesson is talking like we talk. We, subject, talk, verb, and then about going. So you can link the gerunds with a preposition, but you need to remember that usually it should be preceded the ing or the gerund. How? Like you say, Sue is in charge of organizing the meeting. I'm interested in learning more about your homework or your work. I'm used to sleeping. I'm used to sleeping. I'm accustomed to sleeping. So here you can see in D and F, two preposition not part of infinitive form. So a gerund follow. So I look forward to going. I look forward to going. So here to is not part of the preposition because it is part of the verb itself. I look forward to going. G, we talked about not going to the meeting, but finally decided we should go. So in G here, what's the case if we use not? We talked about not going. So you put the negation between the gerund and between the preposition. That's how we deal with the sequence. I hope you're still with me in the following part. This following part, common preposition combinations followed by gerunds. In this combination, we have to be aware of how the structure already used. If you look at the first package, be excited, be worried about. So usually some combination directly we need to memorize. Like sometimes I say I complain. Should I use of or about, or I use from, or I use in? So this the structure that we could understand or memorize. Be excited, be worried about, complain about, dream about, talk about. All of these words I can see it's relatively linked to combination structure. So there is nothing to be concerned if we memorize the structure of sequence for verbs. Like when you say I blame someone for, you didn't say I blame someone with. So that's what is the lesson is about, how you pick up the real or the exact preposition. This preposition, it really belongs to or to the structure, and this structure you can what in this structure you can write very correct sentence. Like if you check be excited about, not with, be worried about, complain, dream, talk, think, apologize about, or of. You have either one. You can choose one of them. And also in the following one, blame someone for, forgive someone, have an excuse, have a reason, be responsible, thank someone. All of them focused on for. And after for, you have the gerund, what we call structure. That's how you keep tracking the sentences in a correct style or a correct structure. Keep someone, prevent someone, prohibit someone, stop someone. Prohibit يعني يمنع. And all of them from. We have also be interested, believe, participate, succeed in. Approve, be accused, be afraid, be capable, be guilty, be proud, instead, take advantage, take care of. So all of them here, you need to remember the following words of these structures is of. The preposition is of, be proud of, instead of, take advantage of, take care of. Next we have be tired of or be tired from, based on the context. Count on doing it, insist on doing it. Be accustomed in addition to doing. Be committed, be devoted. And when we have be devoted, you can see look forward to. Be devoted to doing, not be devoted in doing. Be devoted in will be inaccurate. So be devoted to doing, be committed to doing, be opposed to, be used to. So that's how we keep tracking your writing skills based on little mistakes like this. So be careful when you use look forward to doing, ing. Okay, fine. In the next part, possible in British English, I'm accustomed to sleep with the window open. Be afraid, be excited, and be proud can also be used with infinitive. Be excited, be proud, can also be used with an infinitive. So be careful about be afraid, be excited, and be proud. Okay, to move to the next part, we have, you can see here in the next section 14 and 17, that's what we need. If you look here, go plus gerund. So it's very simple. Did you go shopping? We went fishing. Go is followed in a certain way for a gerund. No need to think too much because it's about activities. When you say go shopping, went fishing, or go biking, go hunting, go sailing, all of these activities should be followed by ing. So I can tell you that the ing here is very important, and that there is another word, go angling, for the activity. So here I don't think this lesson in section 7 is really hard, because for sure it's very simple to understand the activities. Any activity, you can read the sporting and the activities, and you can find like here go jogging. Jogging يعني الهرولة الغير سريعة البطيئة، هرولة أو جري بطيء. سنوركلينج اللي هو زي الغطس، يعني موجود دائما، اللي هو في بعض الدول بيعملوا مهارة الغطس موجودة. طيب الآن احنا في عنا في المثال اللي بعده بعض الأمور. In section 8, special expressions followed by ing, we have here kind of expression. We have to memorize also that it followed usually with ing. It's something you need to remember. We can trace the ing. Why? Because it's like this. It's written like this. We had fun playing volleyball. I had trouble finding his house. I had a hard time. I had difficulty. I had a difficult time. So the point here that I'm trying to tell you, when you have kind of expression, like you have a series of words that follow each other one by one, like have fun or have a good time playing, or have a trouble or difficulty doing, not in, and have hard time the case like here finding his house, or understanding the course. You can see or tell whatever you like about the activities. It's very simple for you to know the structure. Sam spends most of his time studying, so spend and waste for ing. And then we have another point down, like I stood there wondering what to do next. Wondering, we have a kind of William Wordsworth, like when he wrote a poem, I wander lowly as a cloud, and wandering is used for that part. We can also find the expression down. When I walked in my office, I found George using my telephone. I caught a thief looking through my desk. All of these kind of expressions, it's by default. You can feel it and you can get it from what? From the practice and from a daily conversation with maybe native speakers. Then to continue here, we have also in section 9, we need to continue talking about the infinitive and gerunds and infinitive as subject. Sometime in writing or academic writing, we need to understand that in academic writing, the ing could be in the subject as a gerund, and at the same time we can start the academic writing sentence with infinitive. It's very optional to start, like it is difficult to learn a second language, or learning a second language is difficult, to learn a second language is difficult. We have quite similar meaning but with different structure. All of them we could use in the academic writing. It is easy for young children to learn a second language. You can also add a phrase, it is easy for young children to learn. All of them, they are still the same. I don't think you have a problem, or there's a problem in understanding the following part. And what? Here you can see this phrase, it's not recommended to be for writing, but it's recommended for the speaker. So it is easy for young children to learn a second language. You can use it for speaking. Learning a second language is easy for young, it's very normal to learn second language is easy for young children. Also simple here for section 9. Section 10, what we need to remember, the list. So this list, I don't think anyone can really keep memorizing it for a longer time, because it's really tiring and it's really needs your energy. Why? Because some verbs immediately followed by infinitive. That's by practice. When you have agreed to help, appears to help, or to be tired, arrange to meet, ask to come, beg to come, it began to rain, I can't afford to buy it, I can't bear to wait, I can't stand to wait, I can or we can't wait to see you. So I think when you practice how to memorize all of this verbs that followed by which followed by infinitive, you will save your time in memorizing. So here, pretend to, promise to, regret to, start to, or stop to. Let's stop to get a snack. So this how we use stop, by following it with infinitive. Let's stop to. Okay, some verbs followed by a pronoun and then infinitive, like I advise you, or she advised me to wait. It's very common also to add a pronoun between the infinitive, to, and between the verb. That's very common to add whatever personality that you talk to. and it's very simple for people to understand you. Okay, we have here what we call the second part, reference list followed by gerunds. I think this one is more harder in memorizing than the first one. So when you have admit, advise, how you have this one followed by ing, because I can tell you, you need to back and think deeply about how we could use with ing by what. When you look at this sentence, he avoided answering, or he avoided answering my question. We know that avoid is followed by ing. He or it began raining. We say it can be either one. Those with that bold circle is to tell you it can be with either to or ing. So those with bullets, they say can be followed by infinitive as well. It's not only about ing. So you have here urge, using, understand, tolerate, suggest, stop, start, risk, she risks losing. So that's the whole part we need to think. And later what I can tell you, reference list for preposition combinations followed by gerunds. We have here totally gerunds, but it's about combination like apologize for, approve of, blame someone for. So that's how we can minimize or wrapping up all the previous sections within the last three sections, section 10, 11, and 12. It talked about the whole revision for that part. What I need also when we say he apologized or I apologize for getting, I approve of, blame someone for, complain about, in addition to, take advantage of, succeed in, and stop someone from, prohibit someone from, prevent someone from, participated in or participate in. All of these kind of section. And the second one with also following with the preposition like be with gerunds and preposition. We was accused of stealing, is accustomed to working, accustomed to, are afraid of being alone, are afraid of being. Okay, fine. I think you can read it, but what you need to think is how to read these notes. At the end here, he was tired of running. He doesn't want to run anymore. And he was tired from running. He was tired because of running. When you use from, because you have to stop running, but if you use he was tired of running, that you didn't want to continue anymore in an activity of running. I wish that you still read this kind of review. Like you can see here, chapter 14 review is very important. Why? Because if you answer the questions here, like for the review in page 331, the question is asking you about choose all correct sentence, explain why each incorrect sentence is wrong. So you need to choose the correct sentence, but those who are incorrect, you need to define or to tell others why. Text while you are driving is dangerous. So when you choose all the correct sentence, you have to read, it is dangerous to text while you are driving. That's how the sentence can be said. Why here? Because you say to text while you are driving, it will be something that you have to be aware of selecting the sentences. This question will be totally in the final exam because it shows how or to what extent you can define the correct sentence structure. At the end of this lesson, thank you very much for listening to me, and I wish that you can cover chapter 14 very well. I will see you later for sure.